The room was completely silent as Chinedu slowly walked toward the old wooden box that had remained untouched since his mother's burial. Dust covered its surface, and every step he took made his heart beat faster. He knelt before the box, took a deep breath, and gently lifted the lid. Inside, he found an old family photograph, a neatly folded wrapper, and a brown envelope with his name carefully written across the front. His hands trembled as he picked up the envelope. Tears gathered in his eyes. Before he even opened it, taking a deep breath, he unfolded the letter and began to read. The first words pierced his heart like a knife. "My dear son, if you are reading this letter, it means I have gone to be with your father. Please do not cry for me. I have always loved you, and I have never stopped praying that one day your heart will change." Chinedu could no longer hold back his tears. Every painful memory came rushing back. He remembered the many times his mother begged him for help, the lonely nights she spent hungry, and the day she stretched out her hand to him, only for him to walk away without looking back. As he wiped his tears, he continued reading. Near the end of the letter, his mother had written one final instruction: "My son, beneath the wrapper inside this wooden box, you will find something your father entrusted to me many years ago. I kept it safe because I believed that one day you would become the man God wanted you to be." With trembling hands, Chinedu carefully lifted the old wrapper. Hidden beneath it was another envelope. He slowly opened it and found several official land documents. His eyes widened in shock as he realized they belonged to a large piece of land his late father had bought many years earlier. His mother had protected this secret all her life, waiting for the right time to pass it on to him. Holding the documents tightly against his chest, Chinedu broke down in tears. At that moment, he understood that his mother had protected this secret all her life, waiting for the right time to pass it on to him. Holding the documents tightly against his chest, Chinedu broke down in tears. At that moment, he understood that his mother had given him something far greater than wealth. She had given him unconditional love, forgiveness, and one final chance to become a better man. The following morning, Chinedu could not sleep. His mother's letter and the land documents remained in his hands throughout the night. As the sun rose, he carefully placed them in a leather folder and drove straight to the office of the most respected lawyer in the city. The lawyer adjusted his glasses and examined every page carefully. The office became completely quiet. Minutes felt like hours as Chinedu waited anxiously for an answer. Finally, the lawyer looked up with surprise-written awe over his face. "Mr. Chinedu," he said softly, "do you realize what you have here?" Chinedu slowly shook his head. The lawyer smiled gently and replied, "These documents are genuine. Your late father bought this land more than 30 years ago. At that time, it was almost worthless because it was outside the town." He paused for a moment before continuing, "But today, everything has changed. A major highway now passes through that area. Companies have built factories nearby." Over his face, "Mr. Chinedu," he said softly, "do you realize what you have here?" Chinedu slowly shook his head. The lawyer smiled gently and replied, "These documents are genuine. Your late father bought this land more than 30 years ago. At that time, it was almost worthless because it was outside the town." He paused for a moment before continuing, "But today, everything has changed. A major highway now passes through that area. Companies have built factories nearby, and investors are competing to buy land there. The value has increased beyond imagination." Chinedu stared at the lawyer in disbelief. "So, how much is it worth?" he asked with a trembling voice. The lawyer pushed the documents toward him and answered, "This land is now worth hundreds of millions of naira." For a moment, Chinedu could not speak. His eyes filled with tears once again. He wasn't crying because he had become richer. He was crying because the woman he had ignored and abandoned had been protecting this priceless inheritance for him all those years. He lowered his head and whispered, "Mother, after everything I did to you, you still thought about my future." As he walked out of the lawyer's office, the weight in his heart became heavier than ever before. He finally understood that his mother's greatest gift was not the land. Her greatest gift was her unconditional love.